If you start a piece of feedback with, "You should," most native speakers don't hear a helpful suggestion. They hear, "You are doing something wrong." Welcome to Speak Like a Native. I'm Maya.
And I'm Leo. Let's get into it.
Think about the last time someone told you, "You should exercise more." Did you feel motivated or did you feel a little annoyed?
Honestly, I felt like they were criticizing me. I know I should exercise more, but when someone says it like that, I want to say, stop telling me what to do.
Exactly. That is the problem with "you should." It is grammatically correct, but socially it sounds like a command. In American workplaces, schools, and friendships, direct feedback can easily sound aggressive. Today we are going to fix that.
So what do we say instead? Because I really need this. I had to give feedback to a coworker last week, and I think I made it worse.
That does not surprise me. What did you say?
I told him you should make the slides shorter. He got quiet and said, "Okay, thanks." But I could tell he was not happy.
That is the universal sign that your feedback landed wrong. The words were clear, but the feeling was cold. Here is the first phrase you can use instead. One thing that could be stronger is,
Oh, that sounds much softer. Can you break it down?
"Of course." Imagine your coworker gave a presentation. It was good, but the conclusion was weak. Instead of "You should fix the ending," you can say, "You covered the data really well." One thing that could be stronger is the conclusion.
So you are not saying you are bad. You are saying this one part can improve.
That is exactly the magic. It shifts the focus from the person to the thing. The person hears a suggestion, not an attack.
Okay, I love that. One thing that could be stronger is the conclusion.
Perfect. And notice, you do not need to say "you are wrong." You just point to one specific area. That is much easier to accept.
But what if I want to suggest a completely different idea? Not just improve a part, but recommend a new approach.
Great question. That brings us to our second phrase. Have you considered?
Have you considered? Like, have you considered changing the whole opening?
Exactly. It sounds like a question, not an order. For example, have you considered starting with a story instead of a chart? Now the person feels like they are part of the solution.
So the question form makes it more collaborative?
Yes, you are not pushing them. You are inviting them to think with you. That is a big deal in American communication culture. People want to feel respected even when you disagree.
That makes so much sense. So instead of "you should change the cover photo," I could say, "Have you considered using a brighter cover photo?"
Beautiful. And notice how natural that sounds. Now here is the third phrase. What if you tried?
What if you tried? That one sounds playful.
It is a little playful, which is perfect for creative feedback. Imagine a friend is practicing a job interview answer. You want to tell them to sound more confident. You can say, "What if you tried adding a short story about your last project?"
That feels like we are testing ideas together.
Exactly. It is low pressure. The word "tried" suggests an experiment, not a final judgment. People are much more willing to try something small than to admit they were wrong.
So let me repeat all three. One thing that could be stronger is, have you considered? What if you tried?
Yes, and you can mix them with a little structure called the feedback sandwich.
I have heard of that. Is it really as simple as positive, negative, positive?
It is simple, but you have to make it specific. A fake positive like "good job, but you" does not work. People can smell that from a mile away.
So I should not say, "Great presentation, but you should speak louder." That still sounds bad.
Right. The "but" cancels the compliment. Instead, try pausing. Make the positive specific, then give the improvement. For example, your opening story grabbed everyone. One thing that could be stronger is your ending. Have you considered finishing with a clear next step?
Oh, that sounds like a real coach. I would actually listen to that.
That is the goal. Specific positive, soft improvement, helpful suggestion. That is the sandwich done well.
Now here is the part that surprises most people. Ready?
Always ready.
Wait, that is my line. No, but serious question. Why do native speakers care so much about this? In some cultures, direct feedback is normal. If my idea is bad, just tell me.
That is a really important cultural difference. In American workplaces, directness is valued, but so is relationship. If you say you should or you must too often, people may cooperate in the moment, but they will avoid you later.
So it is not about hiding the truth. It is about protecting the relationship while telling the truth.
Exactly. You can still be honest. One thing that could be stronger is still feedback, but it leaves the other person feeling like you are on their side.
I have a student from Spain who always says, I recommend you to do this. Is that okay?
That is a classic learner mistake. Many Spanish speakers say, I recommend you to do because it matches their native structure. But in English, that pattern is not standard. We say, I recommend doing that, or I recommend that you do that.
So I recommend you to try is wrong?
It sounds a little off to native ears. Better to say, I recommend trying a different opener, or I would recommend that you try a different opener.
Okay. Note to self. What about Chinese speakers? I have heard them say, you'd better.
That is a very common one. You'd better finish this by Friday can sound like a warning or a threat in American English. It is grammatically correct, but the feeling is strong, almost like a parent scolding a child.
Whoa. So you'd better is not a soft suggestion?
No, it can sound quite heavy. If you want to soften it, use it might be a good idea to finish this by Friday, or I would aim to finish this by Friday.
What about Arabic speakers? I have friends who say, you must do this.
Yes, you must sounds very strong in English, like a rule or an emergency. In many languages, must is a normal way to express advice, but in English conversation, it can feel too dramatic. You really might want to, or one thing that could help is, are much softer.
Okay, so avoid you must, be careful with you'd better, and never use I recommend you to do. Got it.
And also avoid, why didn't you? That is another feedback killer.
Why? That sounds like a fair question.
Imagine you submitted a report late. Your boss says, why didn't you send this yesterday? Even if the boss is just curious, you feel blamed. The past is already gone. Great feedback should look forward, not backward.
That is such a good point. So instead of why didn't you, I could say, for next time, what if you tried sending a quick update by noon?
Perfect. You moved from blame to solution. That is exactly what we want.
Okay, let me try a real scenario. I want to tell my roommate to clean the kitchen.
Dangerous situation. Proceed carefully.
I could say, the kitchen looks great when it is organized. One thing that could be stronger is the counter space. Have you considered putting the dishes away before bed?
That was genuinely excellent. You used 2 of the 3 phrases, and you kept it kind. If a roommate hears that, they might still be lazy, but at least they won't slam the door.
That is my goal.
Now I want to give you the exact mistake 90% of learners make. Wait for it. Are you ready?
I'm nervous.
The mistake is mixing a positive with a hard command. For example, I like your idea, but you should change everything. The positive becomes a lie because the command is too strong.
That sounds like my coworker situation from earlier. I said, nice job, but you should make the slides shorter. I basically canceled my own compliment.
There it is. That is the classic error. The listener only remembers the part after but, so separate the positive and the suggestion. Use a period. You explain the data clearly. One thing that could be stronger is the slide design.
That feels so different. No but at all.
Exactly. You don't always need but, and when you use the question phrases, the feedback sounds even more respectful. Have you considered fewer bullet points?
Okay, I want to practice more. Give me a situation.
Here is your first one. A coworker writes an email that is too long. The main request is buried at the bottom. How do you give feedback?
Okay, thanks for the detailed update. One thing that could be stronger is the email structure. What if you try putting the main request in the first line?
Fantastic. That is clear, specific, and soft. Most native speakers would respond beautifully to that.
I feel more confident already. Give me another one.
Your friend is practicing for an English interview. She speaks too fast. Give her feedback.
Okay, your answers are full of great examples. Have you considered slowing down just a little? It might help the interviewer catch every detail.
Very natural. Notice you did not say you speak too fast. You said, have you considered slowing down? Much easier to hear.
It almost feels like we are solving the problem together.
That is the secret. Good feedback is not an attack. It is an invitation to improve.
This next one might surprise people. What if the feedback is about something really serious, like someone did something wrong at work?
That is a mature question. When the mistake is serious, you still want to be direct, but you can be direct without being cruel. Start with what happened, then focus on the fix. For example, this section was missing from the report. What if you tried adding it and sending an update this afternoon?
So even serious feedback can use what if you tried.
Yes, it keeps the focus on the next step, not the shame. Shame makes people shut down. A clear next step makes people act.
That is such a useful way to think about it.
Now let's talk about why sandwich feedback has a bad reputation. Some people say it is fake. But the problem is not the structure. The problem is vague praise. If you say good job and then criticize, it feels lazy.
So make the first slice of bread specific and true.
Yes. Find something you genuinely appreciate. Your introduction was strong because you used a real customer story. Then give the middle slice. One thing that could be stronger is the transition to the pricing section. Then offer the second slice. But overall, the content is really close to ready.
The second positive gives them energy to actually make the change.
Exactly. People need to know that the relationship is okay. Feedback is not the end of the conversation. It is part of it.
And if I only say nice things, they won't improve. But if I only criticize, they won't listen. Balance is everything.
That is the whole lesson in one sentence.
Okay, let me try a full sandwich in a business email. Ready?
Go for it.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for sending the draft. The market research section is especially clear. One thing that could be stronger is the executive summary. What if you tried leading with the biggest insight? Overall, I think this is nearly ready. Happy to discuss.
That is a perfect email. If I were Sarah, I would feel respected and clear about what to do next.
Success.
And here is a small phrase to add even more warmth. Would it be helpful if, for example, would it be helpful if I shared a template that turns feedback into support?
Oh, that is nice. So I can actually offer help, not just criticism.
Right. The most constructive feedback often includes a little offer. Have you considered using a simpler chart? I have one I can send you.
That sounds like a great coworker.
Exactly. That is the person people trust.
Now, I have to ask, what if someone gives me feedback and it sounds rude? How do I respond without making it worse?
Good question. You can stay calm and ask a clarifying question. Thanks for letting me know. What specifically would you like me to change that keeps the conversation moving forward?
So I don't need to apologize 100 times.
No. Over-apologizing can make the other person uncomfortable. One simple thanks for the feedback is enough, then focus on the action.
Okay. And what if I disagree with the feedback?
Then you can say, I see your point, let me think about that. Or, that is helpful. I'm not sure I agree with the timeline, but I will look at the opening. This shows respect without lying.
So feedback is a two-way conversation.
Always. The goal is improvement, not winning.
Let's do one more listener challenge. This is the part where our audience can practice at home. I will give a sentence and they have to make it softer.
I love it. Here is the tough sentence. You should stop using so many slides.
Ooh, listen to this. You can pause the episode and try it. Ready with the answer?
I would say your content is really strong. One thing that could be stronger is the number of slides. Have you considered cutting it down to 10?
Softer, specific, and still honest.
Exactly. No one wants to be told what to do, but almost everyone wants a good suggestion.
That is the core idea. Direct does not have to mean harsh.
Perfect. If you only remember one thing today, here it is. Swap. You should. For one thing that could be stronger is, or have you considered? And your feedback will sound like help, not judgment.
That is a rule I can actually use today.
And we want to help you improve every day. If this episode helped you, subscribe to Speak Like a Native and hit the bell. We release new episodes daily to help you sound more natural, confident, and less like a textbook.
And leave a comment with one feedback sentence you created. I will read some of my favorites.
Yes, we would love to hear your examples. Thanks for listening, and remember, the best feedback builds people up, even when it points out what to fix.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.